Today is the power of thought, the significance of thoughts and how they affect our lives. People often ask me that how does the power of thought affect one's life? Well, the thoughts are the core of our actions. We don't pay much attention to thoughts as they can be seen, but they are what decides what actions are. Today, the material that I'll be taking is from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Before we dive into the topic of the power of thoughts, I want to give you some of the background. Napoleon Hill himself grew up in poverty and was very curious about people who were very rich and successful. So, because of his curiosity, he decided to interview 500 very successful and wealthy people. And in doing so, he came up with 13 reasons as to how a person can grow rich and wrote them down in his book, Think and Grow Rich. So, circling back to our topic, the power of thoughts, which is the first chapter of the book. It talks about how thoughts are the baseline into doing anything, achieving any goal, or doing anything valuable in your life. If you first think about an action, then plan it, and then have a burning desire to follow it, you can actually achieve your goal in the end. The best way to understand this is through an example. My example comes from Edwin C. Barnes, who is mostly known as being the partner of Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, in his time, was a great inventor and had quite the influence. But Barnes, when he first started, had no influence, no background, didn't have anything to his name. But he had a thought. He knew that he wanted to work with Thomas Edison. That was his end goal. And in doing so, he found ways to achieve it. And he discovered how to think and grow rich. But this wasn't an epiphany. This came little by little, time by time. It all started when he got the idea that he wanted to work with Thomas Edison. So he went to where Thomas Edison was in Orange, New Jersey, in East New Jersey, and he came into Thomas Edison's laboratory and said to Edison, "I want to work with you." At that moment, Edison saw the determination in Barnes' eyes. Barnes had no influence, no background. He wasn't even appropriately dressed for that meeting, but he had the look of dedication in his eyes that he wanted to do something big, and he wanted to do it with Thomas Edison. So Thomas Edison hired him, but as a salesman. At this time, Barnes wasn't working with Thomas Edison. Barnes was working for Thomas Edison, which wasn't his goal. So as time progressed, as time went on, Barnes did his best. Then came an opportunity. Edison created a detecting machine, or Eddie phone as he called it, and salesmen couldn't sell it or didn't want to sell it. But Barnes took the opportunity and said that I will market this product and I will sell it. And he did so brilliantly that in the end he got a contract with Edison to distribute and market all of his products, all of his devices around the nation. And in doing so, he achieved his goal of working with Thomas Edison. He became a partner of Edison. In this entire story, we can understand that Barnes had a thought. The most initial step to achieving anything. He had a thought, he worked out a plan, and he was determined. He stayed there, he did what was necessary, he put his best foot forward, and in the end he got what he wanted. Sometimes the result might not be immediate, but it might be long term. So why don't you try and think and grow rich?